Happy Mother's Day. That's right, it's Mother's Day. And if you haven't yet told your mother, or maybe the mother of your children, how much you love, appreciate, and respect them, that's my challenge for you today. And today's show is dedicated to the two women in my life that made my life what it is today. My mom and my wife. If you don't want to hear me talk to my mom and my wife about how much I love and appreciate and respect them, then you should not listen to today's show. If you want to hear all that, then stay tuned.
Cowboy.
Welcome to a daily dose of greatness quest with your host, Trevor Crane, my daddy. He is going to help you take your life and business to the next level.
Here I come to save the day.
Trevor Crane here, 11-time #1 best-selling author and the founder of Epic Author Publishing, coming to you live every day so you can plug in every day to build your ideal business so you can live your ideal life.
If my daddy can do it, then anybody can do it because he's a weirdo.
You're supposed to make me sound cool.
All right, welcome back. I'm going to go ahead and talk about my love, appreciation, and respect for my wife and my mom. And I'm actually going to do it in that order because I know that my wife has very little patience, and I better go ahead and talk to her first because we just had our little bouncing baby boy. So, honey, Robin. Oh, and by the way, to everybody else, I'm going to tell my wife all these little sweet nothings. If you don't want to hear this, don't stay tuned. And then I'm going to go into all the details and ooey, yucky, gooiness about my mommy. All right. So that's what I'm doing right now. And maybe you want to listen because you want to be inspired and come up with something that you might be able to share with your mom or wife or significant other, whatever. No, significant other. Yes, do that too. But this is Mother's Day. They deserve your love. And if you're not regularly communicating how much you love, respect, and appreciate them, then at least take this day to do that. All right. Back to Robin. Good God, Robin. You know, I love you so much, honey. First of all, I love how good of a mom you have been. You know, since you and I first got together and I introduced you to Phoenix when she was 2 years old, you know, I always wanted you to be her mom from the beginning. And not to replace her mom, but I knew you were so loving and caring and nurturing, and I wanted you to be a part of her life. And I think from the very beginning, my goal was to always treat your word just as honest or just as important in my daughter's life as mine or her birth mom. And you've been a great mom to our daughter Phoenix. You know, you read to her all the time since she was been a little kid. I know that was more your doing than mine, that virtually every night it was book reading. And still to this day, very seldom does my daughter request me to put her down and go to sleep. She typically wants you to go and put her to sleep and read to her. I know I win sometimes, but typically 70-80% of the time she'd rather do that with you. And I know that's because she's been able to feel your love since she can barely remember. And now I've gotten to see you with our son Maverick, and I know he's only 3 months old, but this little dude is an amazing dude. He smiles all the time, and you've been so amazing with him. You know, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more in a little bit, but you know, you're an amazing mom to both of them. You know, I know that you've been, one of the things I love about you is how you're up at all hours, you know, taking care of that kid. I know for those of you who don't know my wife, she needs her sleep. Like, she doesn't get 8 hours or 9 hours sometimes. She has a tendency to have less patience and be sometimes grumpy with those people that are closest to her. And guess what? She typically sees me around the house. So what I am really impressed by is that with this little boy being in our lives, she's up at all hours feeding him and taking care of him when he needs to be changed and whatever else it takes, and you're just dealing with it in such an amazing way. I love you, honey. You're doing an amazing job. I love that you're a singer and that you play the guitar and that you're so musical and talented. You know, when I made a list before I even knew you of what I thought an ideal woman was that I wanted to be with, I basically described you to a T. You know this, I've talked about it before, but it is so true. And sometimes I know I take you for granted, honey, and it's not fair. I love you, and I love everything about you. You know, one of the things I appreciate about you, I don't know if you remember this, but when I made your first DVD for you, when I saw you at that live show, my wife and I celebrated our first date when she played a live show at the Tin Angel in Philadelphia. And we never even kissed at that stage, but I got to film that show. And then I made a DVD out of it. I made an album out of it, as that was my way of trying to show her how much I cared about her. But what I realized is that no matter how many hours I spent editing that footage and listening to you and watching you, I loved everything about you. And the same thing remains today. When I did that video for you for your 40th birthday last year, again, I got to revisit your entire life, and I love everything about you. I interviewed your family, your brothers, your parents. I went through all your old photo albums or boxes of photos that I could find. Honey, I respect and love everything that you went through. And let's just talk about that when it comes to the Mav. For those of you who don't know, we struggled to have a baby for 5 years. And when Robin was trying to change her health and her nutrition and her diet and her patterns to go ahead and make sure that her body would make a baby, she changed everything. She went on a week-long 7 to 10 day meditation retreat where she didn't speak. She was silent for like a week. And then she kept meditating and meditating. And she went to a retreat in Peru where they did more of the same on the spiritual retreat. You always challenge yourself. You went under surgery and medical procedure after medical procedure to try to do whatever it takes, all these invasive things to get that baby here. I respect that you had traveled the world before we even met. I knew that the woman that I wanted to be with was somebody who had similar passions and desires. And when I remember just meeting you and dating you, I remember being blown away that you and I had both had some of the same experiences as far as our travel, and I felt like we had been looking for each other. And I'm just sorry it took so long for me to show up. Honey, one of the things that I appreciate most about you is that when we did meet, and I was at one of the low points in my life where I wasn't feeling very confident about myself, and I had lost everything and all my money, and I was bragging that I was home free when I was truly homeless. You still saw me for me and believed in me when I had a hard time believing in myself. I know also that you've heard me say that before, but it's very, very true. I remember telling my good friend Peter that it was special because I felt like you liked me for me when I was at one of my worst, when I was at one of my lowest, I guess. So, honey, I love and appreciate that you're a great coach and that you're a great trainer and that you're coachable. When you find a mentor that you trust, that you will do whatever they tell you to do, you'll jump off the bridge, and even if though you're scared, you will believe in them like you've believed in some of your coaches and mentors over the years, then you'll adopt their belief until they become your own. And I guess one of the last things I want to talk about as far as what I love, appreciate, and respect about you is how much I appreciate that you care for other people. And you have such a deep love for other people and serving others and helping others. I'm just honored to be on this journey with you. You make every day of my life better. And I'm recording this right now, and we're not in the same house. I'm recording this right before it's Mother's Day because I wanted to have this ready for you. So when the podcast came out and it went live, that I could give this to you as a gift. But I miss you right now while I'm saying all this. And now I'm going to transition to my mommy. So mommy, I'll probably figure this out. I don't call my mommy anymore, but I thought it sounded more silly to say it that way. But we're transitioning to my mom. So growing up, Mom, come on. I was a mama's boy. Let's face it. I would like to say that I was a man. I was a mama's boy. And I grew up with you always believing in me. There's some commonalities here with what I feel like I have in my wife, in that you believed in me when I was a little itty bitty baby. And not everybody was raised by parents who loved them unconditionally, but I always felt loved. And I always felt that you stood up for yourself and what you believed in. I know that you went through a lot of hard choices when, there was the divorce or the divorces and the different stepkids and different things, but I always felt like you were somebody who could do anything. My mom went out and she decided she was going to be an airline stewardess. She went to airline stewardess school. She decided that she was going to reinvent herself and become a cop. She went to in her 50s, she went to become a cop and go through their version of Hell Week or whatever that is for becoming a cop. She decided to become a realtor and she made it in real estate. She decided to become an investor and she started to invest in different properties. She started her own bed and breakfast. My mom decided to become a nurse and she went back to college. Like you have always been somebody who was just like, you will do it. You'll go do the work. You'll go sacrifice whatever it takes and put your time and energy into it. And I know that you put family first. When Stephanie decided to move to Alaska, Stephanie's my sister and she has two sons. My mom said, well, I'm going to go live near one of my kids, one of my kids with babies. And so she moved to Alaska and in order to do that, she went to New Mexico for a couple of years to go get her nursing degree so she would have a job when she showed up and she could go ahead and live where she wanted to live. And then she started her own bed and breakfast in Alaska. And then I love and respect and appreciate you so much when you have gone to help me when I have gone through my transitions. When I was moving from Florida to New Jersey, my mom flew out from Alaska to help me drive all my stuff from Florida to New Jersey. She did this several times over, probably 3-4 times. She will show up. She will come and help us move and help paint the rooms. And she painted our baby room for Maverick, and she flies across the country on her dime to go ahead and be part of everything. And it meant a lot to us and to Robin when you showed up when Maverick was born, and were so flexible with your schedule, saying you'll show up whenever it was appropriate for us with all of Robin's family. And that was just, you've always been really great with us and obviously with Phoenix and with Maverick now, especially. I keep thinking about how you've come now twice to come see us just so that you can be part of his life. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, my mom has been threatening, and that's the term we use in our family, that she's been threatening to move to Florida, or at least to buy a property in Florida so she can be near my daughter and Maverick as they grow up in this next phase of their life. My daughter now being 11 and Maverick being 3 months old. But Mom, when I was a little kid growing up and you used to challenge me to do all the stuff on my own, I didn't appreciate it at the time. I wanted Mommy to tell me, how to spell a word or how to define something or what something meant, or could I do something better here? Or I wanted to go ahead and call the teachers or tell the teachers or write the teachers a note so I could do something. My mom made me do all of that stuff myself. I had to pick up the phone. I had to make the phone calls. I had to go into the dictionary. This is pre-internet, everybody, and use the dictionary and encyclopedia and do my own work and learn to act in face of my fears. My mom has always been that for me. And I remember when my mom was growing up, or when I was growing up, there was a time when my mom was commenting about the presidents at the time. And there was an election going on. This was back when Jimmy Carter was president, to date us. But Jimmy Carter was about to go out of office, and my mom was giving this amazing advice to me in the car, and probably my dad and my two sisters. We were so old. You're so young, like in diapers. My sisters probably still were. But I remember thinking, since my mom hung the moon and my mom knew, my mom's word was law. And she'd still tell you to this day that it still is. And I'm supposed to do whatever my mommy tells me to do. But I just thought it was so silly and such a sad thing that President Carter couldn't get my mom's advice, because she told him how he would have been able to do this or that better during the time when Reagan took over. And, Mom, you've been amazing to me. You've always been fun and funny and made my life lighter. And you've been there for me when I've needed you most. You loaned me money when I needed it. And you believed in all of my new ventures and enterprises when it came to when I was in college, starting my ventures with the campus calendar I put together. And when I was in business and started to launch things, you always believed in me and took care of me. And my final thing here for everybody, I'm going to transition now to just talking to anybody who's still listening besides my mother and my wife, is that I think it's really important that we show the people that we care about most that we love and appreciate them and respect them on a regular basis. And I have it on my to-do list, just so everybody has an idea of how important I think this is. It is on my daily to-do list, my daily action of daily disciplines, for me to pick somebody in my life that is really important to me. and to focus on showing them love, affection, appreciation, and just to have me take a moment to appreciate them, and then to just do something to reach out and communicate with them as well. And if you haven't adopted that type of discipline in your life yet, I strongly advise it. Like, because we get caught up on a lot of different stuff. And yeah, we take the time off on Mother's Day and on Father's Day and on Christmas and holidays and stuff. But I think it's our duty and responsibility every day, because you never know what day is going to be your last, and you don't want to let something go unsaid. And so I'm doing my best to adhere to this new discipline of a regular communication of love, appreciation, and respect for those people that I care about most. And if you haven't done that yet, then that would be my challenge to you. Is, hey, don't forget it's Mother's Day. Go say something nice to your mom. Go send her a nice card. Do something. But then see if you can't come up with something for a week or two to be consistent with your communication with the people that you care about most. That's my challenge to you. And then commit to a daily discipline of finding somebody that you love, care, and appreciate, and tell them every single day. And do it in a cool way. Don't tell them the same thing every day. It's kind of boring. Come up with something cute and fun. I leave my wife and daughter sometimes a sticky tab. Sometimes I send them a video. Sometimes I will customize a photo for them. And I just want them to know how much I care about them. These little deposits that I feel like my wife and my mom have made in me at different times in my life that helped make the quality of my life amazing today. So I'm richer than I've ever been before in my entire life. So I hope you all have an amazing Mother's Day. Go tell your mommy and the mothers that you know around you how frickin' amazing they are, and make today magnificent.
To get even more awesomeness, which means all my best stuff, download my app by texting Trevor to 36260. It will show up right on your cell phone. Just text message the word Trevor to 36260. Talk to you soon.